This is something I quite enjoy as well, is the breadth of quests almost. You know, we're doing quests now in these areas, but we're having to, the way you come across these quests is somewhat haphazard. You can easily miss them. And, I've been on a bit of a comparison recently of Turtle WoW versus retail. I think this is something that I've missed as well, is it's just coming across quests and having the ability to actually miss them adds something to the fact that when you get these quests and complete them, it's like, well, actually, I had to search that out, I had to put some legwork in, and also it adds to the replayability, because if you miss them and then you come across them in the next leveling experience, then it's like, wow, this is actually different. I had no idea this existed. And I feel like there was a certain era of gaming, because when the original Vanilla came out, before that, a few years before that, I seriously played my first ever game. I played games before it, but my first ever RPG was Morrowind. And Morrowind was, that changed my life, to be honest. But something about Morrowind was the fact that when you did quests, or when you picked up quests, it didn't direct you to where you had to go. It was somewhat impenetrable sometimes, these quests. Like, you would read the text and it wouldn't fully help you. But then sometimes the quest text was fantastic. It would say, look, got this road, you'll come to a fork, turn right at the fork, you'll come to a hill, crest over the hill, and then you'll see a dilapidated hut, and it's there. And then when it came to Oblivion, several years later, Oblivion actually gave you an arrow, and you didn't have to read quest text anymore. You didn't have to do anything like that. And I think the whole sort of the mechanism of questing changed at a certain point, and people just became used to having their hand held through it all. But I think when WoW Vanilla originally came out, it was in that sweet spot where questing was becoming a little bit more penetrable, let's say. It wasn't as difficult to know where to go. You didn't have to read all the quest text all the time, but it was just enough that it made you engaged with the game at all times and the world. And you would learn the world. You know where things were, you know where characters were. But now in retail, you just burn through the quests. I think that you don't really invest yourself in who you're questing for, what quest you're doing. It's a totally different experience. I don't know if we'll ever be able to get back to that, but at least Turtle WoW exists, I suppose.